they were opposite the cemetery. They weren't.
No.
Recording in progress.
Cemetery.
Well, that's by the cemetery.
No, I'll tell you. All right. The catalytic converter apparently was very hot, and apparently it ignited this vapor. And there was a big explosion. What happened, the police car went right up in the air, and the policeman, the initial reaction was to floor it, to get away from whatever was happening. So the car went straight up and then came down with this big police engine going full bore, hit the street and tore off down the street. Fortunately, the driver was able to bring it under control within a block or two. But when they came back and looked, then the explosion, of course, had gone through the whole sewer system. So that was close to Glendale Cemetery, is it? Yeah. There was some damage in the street. There were manhole covers that had actually flipped up and come down and embedded themselves in the asphalt on the edge. Fortunately, this was, of course, before rush hour, so there was no traffic. Nobody got hurt in this. But the sewer system runs through Glendale Cemetery, past the caretaker's house at the entrance down in that little valley, the chapel. And then it went across what was then sort of a parking lot over towards Market Street and and Route 59, the Interbelt. And it just blew that wide open. It was this huge trench that went from that parking area, probably a good 150, 200 yards into the cemetery. And the sewer system had been under some of the roads in the cemetery, and it just blew them wide open. And so between the caretaker's house and the chapel, there was just a big trench. Fortunately, the caretaker lived there, and he had a couple of small kids. They were in bed and were not hurt, but if they'd been in the yard, they would have been hurt. And it created a great deal of damage. So the public health emergency was, we now have an open sewer running through the cemetery and parts of downtown, and a lot of concern about damage in the sewer system itself. And indeed, there was fair damage. They did a lot of camera reconnaissance, and indeed, a lot of sewer pipes were cracked. So there was a major repair that had to be done to replace destroyed and damaged sewer pipe. It took a good part of the summer for that to be done. And I didn't have much of a role there, but I was asked to come look at it. I was standing at it, and I just said, well, construction workers are going to have to work in sewage, and we're going to have to prepare them to do that so they stay safe. And that's really all it was. It didn't take much after that. It wasn't my problem so much, but it was quite an introduction to Akron.
I see.
Yeah, I'd probably get into the paper archives for that period and get some real photographs of this.
Did you feel that Akron was a completely different culture to live in than what you had in Hazard?
Oh, sure. I tend to think of Akron was more like the culture I came from, and I think of Hazard as the different culture, quite frankly. So moving to Akron was kind of like getting back into medium-sized, large-sized city, northeastern U.S. kind of culture. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We're going to reload. We're reloading.